and a gal, talking about movies, two guys and a gal, talking about movies, two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and you know, they are really groovy, two guys and a gal, talking about movies, two guys and a gal, talking about movies, two guys and a gal, they're talking about movies, and we know they are really groovy.
Hello, hello. We are feeling groovy. We are groovy. And we are about to talk about one of the biggest A-listers of all times, one of your favorite actors, most likely. I'm just going to guess. I'm just going to go out there and be presumptuous. We're going to be talking about Johnny Depp. When you think A-lister, you absolutely think of Johnny Depp. He has such an amazing catalog and body of work. He is so amazingly, intensely talented. He does it all. He does drama. He does eccentric roles. He does weird, loud, proud roles. He does muted roles. He makes you think. He can be introspective. He can be broody and moody. He can be wild, and he can be very understated. He kind of does it all, and he always has a way to be in the headlines. He and Amber Heard, his ex-wife, of course, had an intensely popular, and it was live streamed and everything, trial that sparked all these conversations about men and women and marriage, and he just does it all, okay? And he's a musician. So that's another thing there. But we have so much to get through and so little time. So let me start it off by, of course, bringing up Manny Zamora and Rory, the man of 10,000 voices. We're going with 10,000 now.
10,000.
10,000 voices, yes.
That would kill me.
And we're going to be talking about this guy. We know this guy. We know his iconic face. Manny, why did you choose this guy?
Well,
why not?
Look at it. Look at it.
Because he's famous.
Because
he's amazing.
Because he's amazing. Johnny Depp he's just one of my favorite actors. I've been following his career since he was on 21 Jump Street.
Wow.
And and at first, I have to be completely honest. At first, I did dismiss him as just another pretty boy.
One of the pretty boys.
One of the pretty
As
boys.
Did I.
Yes. But as I started kind of, seeing him more and more in different films, especially once he started collaborating with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
I realized this guy is more than just a pretty face, literally. And like you said in your introduction, Renee, he does a variety. He can play a variety of roles. He can play silly. He can play serious. He's one of these actors that does disappear into his characters. You're still kind of aware. It's like, okay, I know it's Johnny Depp, but he's Captain Jack Sparrow. He's, whoever he happens to be playing, the Mad Hatter or whatever. Sweeney Todd. And you believe it, and he's not afraid to wear makeup. He's not afraid to wear masks. He's not afraid. He's not afraid. He's a fearless actor who will just jump into a role and just make it his. Now, we'll have to be honest also. He's had a few stinkers along in his career, but then what actor hasn't? And we'll probably talk about those later on. Some more egregious than others. But for the most part, he's had a very successful, just a really brilliant career. And so, yeah, that's why I chose him.
And I think he's had fewer stinkers. Right before you said that, I was going to say he gives I don't know if it's a delusion or not, but it seems like he has fewer stinkers than like Nick Cage. Okay. Like Nicolas Cage has so many stinkers, it's like, oh my gosh. It seems like Johnny Depp has been more discerning just by my mind.
Both of them have a hard time managing money, which causes them to go for roles that I think with Depp though, my personal feeling is that he probably feels, okay, this might not be a good script, but this is a good character, and I bet you I can pull this out.
Yeah.
And in some cases, he does. Like The Tourist.
Well, he's very confident in his talent, that's for sure. And he's been ratified a lot. I mean, his confidence has been ratified by global audiences who continually show up when his name is there. If his name is emblazoned on a film, it's going to sell.
Yeah.
What is amazing is his rise to fame. Obviously, it has a lot to do with his collaboration with Tim Burton.
Mhm.
Obviously, it has a lot to do with he's a nice guy to work with, evidently. That's what I keep hearing. He's one of the nicest people to work with. And coolest people. Obviously, there's a lot of talent there. But yeah, you got to remember this guy started with A Nightmare on Elm Street and, 21 Jump Street. So, yeah, I mean, that's just amazing that he's accomplished what he has starting out on those platforms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
No,
go ahead. No, I was just going to say, I think part of it too is like you, or I think you said, or Renee said, that he's more discerning in his roles. We talk about Nicolas Cage. I think Nick will pretty much grab whatever roles is offered to him. kind of like Michael Caine.
Give me money.
It's like, oh, you're going to pay me how much? Fine, I'll jump in there, do what I can. But Depp, I've never gotten the sense, no matter what he's in, even if it is a lesser movie than what he is capable of, or what he should be in, he never phones it in. I never get the feeling that he's just phoning it in.
Right.
He's like, he always gives 100%. He commits to the role, commits to the bit, as they say in comedy. And I think that's what distinguishes him from a lot of other actors who maybe go in and just do it for the money rather than thinking it's actually going to be a good movie. So I think that's one of the differences.
Yeah, like I know Steve Harvey was one of those where he actually got ripped off by his financial people, and he was going to be sued for, he was in a lot of legal trouble, like he was going to get arrested. So that day when he found that out, Steve Harvey, there's a reason why we saw him on television constantly, nonstop for all those years. He said he literally just needed to not get arrested. So he just took anything that came. And I know Nick Cage, same thing. Willie Nelson went through a similar thing where you just, you have to take whatever. But again, Johnny Depp is just so uniquely talented. He's a unique talent. There's nobody I can compare him to really, that I think even if he gets a really sucky script, it's like somehow he's just interesting to watch. I've seen him interviewed, and just seeing him sitting there in a chair is interesting. Like, yeah. He's weird. He's like Andy Warhol. He's weird, and he's conscious of it. So that's kind of annoying. Like, it's annoying because I think he buys the hype about himself. Yeah. I think he thinks he's hot. He does the rock star thing with the guitar, and like for me, that's like so unimpressive. Like, I think that's annoying. I don't think he's as hot as he thinks he is, but he continually sells tickets, and he is an amazing actor. He sells like you said. He'll sell the role. Absolutely.
Yep. Well, he did lose a lot of his female followers with the Amber Heard situation.
Yeah.
Because he lost the first case, which was in England.
Yep.
And then the one here vindicated him, but he still hasn't bounced back from that, and he lost a lot of work because of that. But
yeah, and it was great.
At least he knows that Amber Heard will never work again. So.
Well, it was great because I remember Sandy D, who's also
shit on my bed, will you?
Sandy D did a women's show when that was going on because he was following it, and she's here on this network. So if you go to Cosmos Creative TV YouTube, you can actually type that in, and she stacked the panel with all these women to just weigh in on that. And the one thing I remember that I was there as well, but I remember the one thing all the women resonated with was how Amber kept saying that during different arguments, Johnny would leave. Like Johnny would just leave and go to a hotel or whatever, and how infuriating that was for her because she could never get closure. And every woman on the panel was like, yes, why do guys do that? So that was like a national conversation. It has nothing to do with his talent, it has nothing to do with his catalog, but that just goes to show that people were fascinated with.
He's a nice guy. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to yell at his wife. He doesn't want to argue. He just look. I'll just let her calm down. I'll go somewhere else.
I know that's the I know that's the man cave response. I know, and to be fair, although I don't like that response, I will say that therapists continually advise men that because they don't want it to turn physical. So it can be much safer for men to literally just leave. So Johnny was probably doing what most therapists do recommend, but it can be very infuriating. It can be its own type
again, when they replayed the tapes, it was she that was doing most of the yelling.
Yeah, she was doing a lot of yelling.
Calling names.
Yeah, so it divided two countries for a while. I remember it was like very funny. I did not watch the. I'll be honest, I didn't watch the trial. So, but anyway,
I found it very amusing. I found his reactions to the different testimony to be very amusing.
Well, the one day that I put it on before Sandy's show and it was live, and I remember I was watching it live on YouTube on the simulcast, and like thousands of live comments were coming in from all over the world concurrently, and it was like I couldn't even keep up with it. But people were very vitriolic and intense about however they felt. So again, that's just a testament. That's just a testament to, because Amber Heard is famous, but I don't think I don't think she's as magnetic on a global scale. She's just not. And people show up for Johnny Depp to see his reactions. Oh, is he going to react? What is he like in a personal
Charlize Theron light.
What did you say?
She's Charlize Theron light. She's incredibly beautiful. And yes, she does have a magnetic presence. She's not a great actress, though. Charlize Theron, on the other hand, is all of the above and a great actress.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Manny, do you want to start us off with your pick?
Sure. So, for my number one, one of my favorite films of Johnny Depp, and it's one of his early films, is What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Not only is he in it, but we get an introduction to somebody else who's going to be a huge star, or who became a huge star, rather, Leonardo DiCaprio, one of his earliest films. And this is just, in turns, it's funny and it's sad and it's tragic and beautiful. It's just a wonderful, wonderful movie. The Juliette Lewis co-stars. I already mentioned Leonardo DiCaprio as his brother with who's mentally challenged. And like I said, there's a romance, there's a romantic story going on between Depp, his character, and Juliette Lewis, that, and then there's the sad part. He's just this kid, basically himself, trying to keep his family together. His mom is morbidly obese and can't move, and there's that whole story. It's just a lovely, moving, just a beautiful film, and a great performance from Johnny Depp, and that's one of the first movies. I'm not going to say it's the first movie, but it's one of the movies
it's
that
early. It's early
and really see. Oh, this kid is not. It's one of the movies that really convinced me that he's not just a pretty face, that he was not just some lightweight, that he was going to go the distance. Because I thought, wow, he challenged himself with that role, with that just starting out of the gate. And
and he also got to react. He was kind of a more muted character. Leonardo DiCaprio's character was more, because he did a phenomenal job. I mean, he acts like a developmentally disabled teenager in that. It's so enchanting to watch that level of acting that Leonardo DiCaprio pulls off. Johnny Depp is the older brother who's sort of who's responsible for keeping his younger brother safe and protecting him. So you get to see Johnny Depp not being Jack Sparrow, not being totally out there and hogging the spotlight. You see him getting to share the spotlight. And I thought that was really important.
Yeah. And
that's why I didn't make my top 5 list. Was because when we do a DiCaprio show, it's going to make my top 5 list. But
Right,
he overshadowed everybody else in that movie. That was a DiCaprio win. Sorry.
And the mother, whoever played the mother, was so good, so good.
Yeah, that was.
It's a good movie. There's no
Darlene
doubt.
Cates.
Okay.
Her name is Darlene Cates.
She was absolutely marvelous. I mean, just so compelling.
And I honestly I don't remember him, but I probably should. John C. Reilly was in this movie.
Oh, John C. Reilly, yeah.
And Mary Steenburgen. I mean, it's a great.
Oh, geez, I didn't even remember. Oh, she is in that. Yeah, yes.
Yeah. So, anyway, okay, all right.
Okay.
So, what was your number 1, Rory?
This might surprise both of you. Oh, well, not Renee because I gave her the list, but
it'll surprise me.
Ed Wood is my favorite Johnny Depp performance. I love that movie so much I can watch it over and over and over again, and it's such a fun movie. And again, it's it's guerrilla filmmaking back in the 50s, which I wish we could do that kind of thing today and get away with it. It's just a wonderful movie. It's black and white, which I don't like black and white movies usually, but that's one of my top movies. I love that movie. It's just wonderful homage to the heyday of back in the 50s when they made great horror films, really crappy horror films, but they were fun to watch.
Yeah. Well, I gotta admit, for a while that was my number 1 as well.
Oh wow!
But after a while you start kind of second guessing and reshuffling and stuff. But yeah, absolutely agree. Not to mention that it's a true story, or mostly true. Edward Wood was he clearly took a lot of liberties.
A lot of liberties,
but he supposedly did have a close relationship with Bela Lugosi.
Yes,
really admired him. Now the scene where he meets Orson Welles, that was complete fiction. He never met Orson Welles, but Vincent D'Onofrio. Holy cow! Now he didn't do the voice.
No.
Actually, the guy who does the voice of the Brain on Pinky and the Brain,
right? Pinky and the Brain did the voice first.
What's his name? John DeLarge, I think.
I can't remember his name.
But he did the voice of Orson Welles because clearly he does that really well.
Tell me about it.
But it's it's a great scene. It's a lovely scene between these two men. Yep. One, of course, who's absolutely revered as one of the greatest filmmakers, but also very maverick. But comparing Citizen Kane to Plan 9 from Outer Space. It's
ironically, in the background of that scene is one of Ed Wood's assistants, Conrad Brooks, whom I actually met many years ago.
Mm-hmm.
He plays the bartender in that bar.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember who played him in Ed Wood, but yeah, Conrad Brooks is one of Ed Wood's guys that was in all of his movies.
Yeah.
So again, I just am a huge fan of that movie. It's one of my favorite Tim Burton films. It's one of my favorite Johnny Depp films. Depp holds his own against the likes of Oscar-winning Martin Landau doing Lugosi.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Murray playing basically a very small character in the film, but
still just pops.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bunny Breckenridge. Yeah,
Bunny Breckenridge.
Yeah.
I love that movie too, and I thought they really balanced, like Tim Burton can, the quirkiness, the eccentric stuff, the humor, and then the straight stuff. It just kind of was all there. So you kind of felt like you were really there. You were really there. You were behind the scenes. You were backstage. during these amazing, incredible, iconic moments in Hollywood history. So it gave me a better appreciation also for those movies, right? And
Yeah, and you can
I loved
actually
about it.
find on YouTube, you can find clips of Lugosi, talking to the reporters about his, coming out of the um, the rehab center
Rehab.
there,
Mm.
from the morphine addiction, and it's kind of sad, really, when you find out the whole story behind it.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I think they did a really good job of showing that, of showing how this
Vampira, Tor
great
Johnson.
actor, yeah, just how they recreated.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
great. So
And of
great.
course, Lisa Marie, who plays Vampira, was married to, or I don't know if they were married or if it was just his girlfriend, to Tim
I
Burton
think she was
for a
his
long time.
girlfriend, yeah, at the time,
Yeah,
yeah.
and then
She was
he
also in Mars Attacks.
Mars Attacks. Yeah,
She was featured in a lot.
it was a
He
lot of his movies.
He
nepotism.
does that,
Good.
I mean, he
Yeah,
moved on to Helena Bonham Carter, and she was in all of his movies after
It's
that.
so funny.
yeah. So all
Serial
right,
monogamy at its best. There you go.
yeah,
And they're still together, I think, aren't they? Helena Bonham Carter. They had a couple
yeah,
kids together. Yeah.
yeah. They're still,
They're not married, I don't think, but they're still together and they have kids together.
yeah. So
So that was
yeah,
my number one.
awesome.
Very
All right, all right. So my my number two is Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Jack Sparrow,
The first one,
the first one. Yeah. I mean,
Curse of the Black Pearl. Same here. That's my
Curse
number two.
Curse of the Black Pearl. He got a little more cartoonish as the sequels progress went on, rather. But the first one, where we are introduced to Captain Jack Sparrow, even
Totally
though
agree.
really the movie was supposed to be about Orlando Bloom and Keira Knightley's characters.
Right.
He Urkeled it up. He Urkeled it.
He Urkeled it. He because it's such an interesting, colorful. Every time he's on the screen, we're like, oh, what's going to happen? We want to know what's going on with him. The other two characters, okay, but it's Captain Jack that really made that movie what it is. It just made it fun and entertaining. His character was amusing and a bit of a mystery, and just his very almost Keith Richards like delivery,
Yeah.
which he said that he kind of based.
That's what he
based
did.
on
Yeah. He was basing it on Keith Richards.
Who
They even put Keith Richards in like the third one as his father.
Yeah, exactly. Which I thought was a nice little move, nice little cameo. But yeah, I think without Depp, I think if anybody else had played that character, I don't think that movie would have become the phenomenon that it did when it released. It was like, okay, another movie based on a Disney ride. Ho hum. He blew
There
it
is
out
a
of the water.
reason why, they made so many of those movies. They made like 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
And the audiences still want more, even though all of the the Disney said, oh no, we're never going to have him back because of this whole thing with Amber Heard, and even though he's been vindicated, we just decided to move on. People want to see another one,
Yeah.
because the character is that much fun.
Yeah, he just, it is Johnny Depp. I don't think you can tell. Now, there's impersonators. This is like an Elvis thing. There's always a Jack Sparrow impersonator everywhere, every Halloween, online. I think it's the physicality that he brings to it, and it's his timing. He makes really weird timing decisions, and he has weird micro expressions that you can't possibly teach. It's just, he embodies this whole weird character who has something wrong with them, but in an amiable way. But there's just something weird. Like, I wouldn't want to be trapped on an elevator with Jack Sparrow, but there's something a little weird about him. But
I understand you. I understand why you say that. I do.
I don't think I deserve that.
I'll get it now.
But it is the timing and these weird faces that he makes that aren't even in the script. Like he just reacts and he exists in a weird dimension that only Johnny Depp could ever be in. And we're going to talk, well, maybe I'll talk later about Scissorhands, because that's another iconic role where he's just so weird. I don't even know what to say about it.
Which one?
Edward Scissorhands.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Scissorhands, yes. I don't know if it's on either of your lists, but I'll mention it. That's just me mentioning it right now. That's not.
Oh, come on! You have both of our lists. Of course, you know if it's on our list.
But that's
I'm
all right.
psychic. I'm psychic. You know, totally psychic. Okay, so where are we on the list?
Well, I believe you said that was also your number 2.
That was my number 2 as well. Yeah. So.
All right. Well, so
Perfect
what's your number 3 then? Or do you have anything more to say about that?
No. Again, the one thing I wanted to say beyond what you said was that, yeah, there's a reason why there's several of those movies. Is because, you know, and truth be told, the second and third one were not all that great. The fourth one was pretty good. Mostly because of Javier Bardem's character, I think.
Yeah, was it on Stranger Tides, I think?
Yeah.
Yeah, he played no, he didn't play Davy Jones.
No, Davy Jones was in the second and third one.
Yeah. That was Bill Nighy.
That was Bill Nighy.
And yeah, the behind the scenes of how they created that character with all the
right,
it's great. I mean, the effects were just that's when Disney was firing on all cylinders, even in the effects department. And I really like that character as well. I thought that was a really good foil for Depp and the other characters. So
yeah.
But anyway, all right. So what was your number 3 rather?
What's your third? My number 3? I suspect yours might be this one too, Sleepy Hollow.
Not quite, but
okay. As far as delightful performances by Depp, very comical performance as Ichabod Crane, and again a very different telling of the Legend of Sleepy Hollow through Tim Burton. Again, just really, really enjoyed his performance in that movie. The movie itself is okay. It's good. It's got a good cast as usual with Tim Burton, and but this is Depp's movie. This one is clearly Depp's movie.
Oh yeah. Cool. All right, so my number
even with Christopher Walken putting his head back on at the end.
Oh, Christopher Walken, just yeah.
All right, we can't have him talk as the headless horseman. I could see Tim Burton saying that. Yeah. You're going down in the train with me and my horse.
Yeah, just wouldn't have. Yeah.
First though, I'm gonna give you a nice sharp tooth kiss.
Exactly. Oh my goodness.
Because you're a witch.
Yeah. Great decision not to have him talk. Well, as it would, I mentioned earlier at the beginning that I felt like, well, I don't know if I actually said this, but I feel that Depp is really at his best when he's paired with Tim Burton.
Yeah.
Not that he's had other bad performances, without him. I mean, clearly Pirates of the Caribbean was not a Burton film, but my number 3 film is another Depp Burton collaboration, and it's Edward Scissorhands, which Miss Renee mentioned. Another
it's on
lovely
my list.
Another lovely performance from Johnny Depp, Winona Ryder, Anthony Michael Hall as playing against type as the bully, as the bad guy in this one.
Yeah.
And of course, one of the final performances from our beloved Vincent Price.
Yes.
Just it's a little, just a lovely little, basically a cameo, an extended cameo.
Alan Arkin as well.
And Alan Arkin, just a terrific cast all the way around. But again, this is one of those things where you see Johnny, in the makeup and in the scissor hands and everything, that I just feel like in the hands of any other actor would not have worked. It would have seemed too camp, too crazy. But Johnny Depp makes you believe that this is a real person. That he is this character.
I think under Tim Burton's direction, it could have been done with others, but I feel that Depp did a wonderful job as the character, and as a result, we look at Edward Scissorhands and we say, I can't see anybody else in the role.
Exactly. Yeah. And it just has this really sweet sort of fairy tale quality to it, especially when you get toward the end, And I mean, there's some serious stuff going on. Obviously there's underlying themes about conformity and people who are different, differently abled, and but it's not heavy-handed. It's not I guess what people would call woke now. It's done in a nice, subtle, where it's there if you look for it, and if you're not, just enjoy the fairy tale quality of it. So, so that's my number three.
That was my number 5.
Oh, okay.
It was on the list.
Yeah. Well, I think we're kind of simpatico on this, because my number 4 film was actually Sleepy Hollow. For a lot of the same reasons. I feel like this is his interpretation of Ichabod Crane, as his kind of Victorian detective, almost a precursor to Sherlock Holmes. I thought was such a brilliant conceit and concept. Instead of making him the school teacher that he was in the original Washington Irving story, making him this detective gives him more reason to be in that city, gives him more reason to be Sleepy Hollow. And it gives Tim Burton chance to cast his cast of regulars like Jeffrey Jones, and again bring he got Martin Landau in there for a little cameo. Christopher Lee has a cameo. The guy who plays Emperor Palpatine, he's in there. Ian McDermott. He has a role in the movie, and of course Christina Ricci, and the wonderful Miranda Richardson.
I often wondered about that. How Ian McDiarmid, who Burton likes to reuse the people that he enjoys working with. So Christopher Lee's in a lot of his stuff. Usually as a small character. Michael Gough is in a lot of stuff.
Michael Gough, character.
But Ian McDiarmid was only in that film. He didn't bring him back for anything. And he could have. So I wonder what their relationship was like during that film. I know what happened with Alan Arkin. He did an interview, and he did a comical interview where he said that Burton exhausted him as an older actor. And when I was watching it, I was like, oh my God, you're never going to work with Burton again. When I was watching the joke is just, it's awkward. I get what you're trying to do, but oh my God, it's just going to offend. And sure enough, he never appeared in another Tim Burton film after that.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the reasons why he never worked with McDermott again was he was kind of scooped up by Lucas for all the prequels, or he's tied up playing.
That might have been. He might have just been busy.
Might have just been busy. And
I forgot to mention too, when we were talking about Ed Wood, that was one of the few Tim Burton films that didn't have Danny Elfman music to it.
That's
He
right.
used Howard Shore, and again, I love the soundtrack for that movie.
Yeah.
It really kind of captures the 50s vibe.
I think that's one of the reasons why Not that Elfman couldn't have done that, but
Oh yeah.
Shore brought that kind of old school Hollywood,
Mm-hmm.
you know, drama to the music. So yeah.
No, Howard Shore was the original music director on the first like 10 seasons of Saturday Night Live before E.G.
Mhm.
Smith and his band took over.
Right.
Maybe 6 seasons. In any case, yeah, he went on to become a composer for movies,
Yeah.
including The Fly with Jeff Goldblum and some other stuff. Anyway, so we're on number 4 now.
Yeah. What's your number 4?
And I've got a feeling this is going to be on your top 5 list as well. Alice in Wonderland, the first one.
It's in my honorable mentions.
Ah, here's the thing: when Johnny Depp does a Johnny Depp character, he hits it out of the park usually, and that is certainly the case with the Mad Hatter. This is probably one of his most delightful, and it's going to be one of his most remembered characters throughout history, I think, along with Jack Sparrow.
Mm-hmm.
On the other hand, I think he missed wide with Willy Wonka. It's not even on my honorable mention list. I mean, I was so annoyed by the performance of Willy Wonka. It's like, nope, you missed wide on that one. No. And he said that Michael Jackson was one of his things that he was thinking of when he came up with the character, and there was something else, I can't remember what it was, that he missed it with. But this character, the Mad Hatter, his Mad Hatter is just delightful. It's just a wonderful character. It's got depth in it. Yeah, it's got depth.
Mm-hmm.
Depth. So the film itself, very it's a very Tim Burton-esque take on a classic.
Mm-hmm.
And it worked for me.
Mm-hmm.
Again, you had your usual. You had the Helena Bonham Carter as the Queen of Hearts. You had Christopher Lee as the Dragon.
Mm-hmm. Anne Hathaway was the White Queen.
Yes. So yeah, it was. It's definitely worthy of the top 5 list for me. So it's my number 4, and then Edward Scissorhands was my number 5.
Okay. Well, my number 5 was Ed Wood.
Okay.
Which, like I said, now that I think about it, I probably could have ranked it higher. In fact, it could have been number 1, but it is what it is, and
you gotta get through that door.
All right.
So many memorable scenes in that movie. Yeah, roll around like he's killing you.
Oh my God! Yeah. Now you're sad. Remember, you're sad. You're trying to. No. You're not that sad. I'm just a guy who likes to wear Angora. Oh yeah. Oh man, when he finally loses it with the Baptists, I was like, yeah, I know the feeling. But
G.D. Spradlin,
yeah,
was the pastor.
But even some of the small characters, like you mentioned, his 2 buddies that just went along with him and played the policeman in Plan 9 and all that. Yeah, they were great. They were great.
Right down to Ronnie Howard's dad, is the farmer that lets him use the meat locker.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I got 2 conditions.
Rance Howard.
Yep. It's got to end with a big explosion. Oh, and my son's got to be in it. Yeah. And we forgot to mention the Sarah Jessica Parker, and
she's wonderful. Yeah.
And Patricia Arquette, who they were both wonderful. Of course, Lisa Marie as Elvira, not as Vampira. Whoops. Freudian slip there.
That's a Freudian slip.
And the wrestler, I forget his name, as Tor Johnson.
George, the Animal Steel. Is that what he said?
Let me see. I believe you're right.
Played Tor. I think it's George the Animal Steel.
Yes.
Played
That's
Tor
it.
Johnson.
Tor Johnson?
Yeah, he's great in it. Why did you give him the dialogue? I can't understand anything he says.
Exactly. Well, I gotta have to get somebody to dialogue. Yeah, but really, honestly, this was Martin Landau's movie. I mean, really. I mean, I love Johnny Depp. He played Ed Wood wonderfully.
Yeah.
But Martin Landau is just so standout, and he did the voice.
He deserves the Academy Award.
He deserved that Academy Award. Yeah.
And he's wonderful as Lugosi, but no, for me, it's that movie is Ed Wood. It's Johnny Depp.
It's Johnny Depp. Yeah. Well, no reason we can love them both.
Most of the lines we quoted were Johnny Depp lines.
We're Johnny Depp. Yeah, of course.
I'm just a guy that likes to wear Angora. It's his movie.
Yeah.
And he did wonderful with it. He was fantastic in it. So, yeah. Definitely deserves the top 5 list. Yeah. All right, honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. All right. Kick us off.
Okay. At the top of my list.
Wait. Before you say that, before you go, I think Renee had something to say about Edward Scissorhands.
Okay. Well, no, you guys definitely touched on everything with Edward Scissorhands, but I'm glad you brought me up because I wanted to mention this movie called Secret Window. This is kind of a what do you call it, Manny? Deep cut.
A deep cut, yeah.
It's one of these deep cuts. Like I never hear anyone talk about it, and maybe it's a little out there, but it's basically a solo show. It's a psychological adventure where he's basically alone in a cabin and he's having he's like a detective, but you don't know if he's having a psychological break and it's all made up, or if there are actual physical manifestations and he's actually in danger. So it's a psychological thriller. It keeps you kept me on the edge of my seat, and it's literally just Johnny Depp. I think there's some ancillary characters, but he pulls off the whole movie and he keeps it really entertaining. So if anyone is interested in watching Johnny Depp for 90 minutes, just doing Johnny Depp stuff, Secret Window, check it out.
Well, it's nice that you mentioned that. That's actually one of my honorable mentions.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you've seen it before. What was your take about it? What did you think about it?
Well, Secret Window is based on a Stephen King short story. Mm-hmm. He plays a writer who was accused of plagiarism, and he's trying to prove that it's not true. He finds out that his wife is cheating on him, and so he separates himself, kind of like the real Depp, and rents
that Amber Heard at the window.
Yeah, he rents his cabin out in the woods.
What's that smell from the bedroom?
Yeah, and this guy shows up, played by John Turturro, who claims that he plagiarized his screenplay or short story or something. No, short story. And so there's this back and forth, and some murders happen, and basically it really kind of plays out like almost like an extended Twilight Zone episode. Because King loved the Twilight Zone, and that's kind of how they approached it. I mean, there's a big twist at the end, very M. Night Shyamalan, although he didn't direct this one. David Kopp did, but it's very intriguing. It's an interesting movie, and I'm glad
I haven't seen it.
Brought it up.
I'll have to watch it.
Yeah, you should watch it. It's not. I got to be honest. I don't think it's one of his best movies, but it does hold your interest because it really. The mystery is what's really going on. Is what's happening to it real? Is it not real? There's another movie that's very similar to this one that Depp did called The Ninth Gate, which is much more of a straight up horror story. And in that one, he's supposedly like a rare book appraiser, and he's asked to appraise all this sort of antiquities in this book and everything. And it may or may not be something like the Necronomicon, which is going to open a gate to hell and all this weird stuff. Yeah, and all this weird stuff starts happening to him. So that's another interesting movie. And again, that one didn't quite rate even my honorable mentions, but it's not a terrible movie. It's just not one of his better ones. So. All right.
He's got a lot of movies, so yeah. I mean,
he's got and
a lot of good ones.
Yeah. All right, so we're back to your list, Rory.
At the top of my list are his two Hunter S. Thompson ventures, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Yes.
I wish there was room for it on the top 5 list, but there was just so many good characters. But yes, his Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, Hunter S. Thompson is wonderful. And then Hunter S. Thompson, the early days in the Rum Diaries. And this was the movie where he met Amber Heard and fell in love with Amber Heard. And left his wife. Amber Heard actually went after Jason Momoa, too. And almost got him away from, was it Lisa Bonet?
Lisa Bonet.
It's his wife. Yeah. But she's just real good at luring men.
Like a siren to their.
Anyway. Yeah, we won't go any further than that. Just suffice to say.
Can we treat men like men? They make their own decisions, and also we don't know the status
and that's
of
why
those
Jason
relationships that they left. So
Jason Momoa fell prey to it, but then he realized what was going on and he pulled away from it. So,
but it's not prey. It's not like women are the sirens and men are like fantastic. Please, women are not awful. Okay. Sometimes. I have to say this, and you don't know the status of those relationships. People often leave relationships for their own internal reasons. So it's not like they get snatched away by some awful woman who comes and does that. I'm just saying. I don't know those.
In my travels and in my life, I've met some bad women.
But can a person be lured away from a healthy relationship? I'm not sure. I'm not really
from
sure.
A healthy relationship?
I don't think so. I think if people have a good bond, no Amber Heard is gonna pull away.
I don't know. She's a siren, I tell you, siren.
Again, Depp is still on good terms with his first wife.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't think it was a bad relationship.
Amber Heard. I know nothing about her, but when I watched 45 minutes of that one trial thing, she seemed to me like a lot of actors, and I am not judging her. She just seemed a little unstable, with her mannerisms. You know how you can tell someone might not be playing with a full deck. I felt like she was not playing with a full deck, and that's not me judging her. In fact, that's probably what makes her an interesting artist, and that's probably what Johnny likes about her. So I'm not trying to insult her. But I'm just saying, I found it interesting that he was with her. A lot of your take was so interesting to me because you were like, oh, she's so good looking and all that. But when women talked about it, a lot of women, we looked at her and we were like, that's who Johnny Depp chose. She looks kind of weird, and
compared to the
neurotic looking and. But people are more than what they project, and she was in the most stressful. I mean, imagine being on trial and having all of the intimate things of your marriage being displayed for the world and judged, So I'm not judging her. I'm really, really not. But just for me, she didn't seem, I thought she would just blend into the background. I didn't think she came across like I offended Rory so much he left.
No, I'm here.
She didn't seem to me like a bombshell. She didn't seem like some big bombshell. But of course, I don't know her. She must have something else going for her that women are not seeing. And women don't understand. The Scarlett Johansson thing, Oh my gosh, every guy is obsessed with her, and I so respect her. But honestly, when I saw Ghost World, this is back a long time ago, I really was like, oh, I'm so glad that they cast unattractive women so that I didn't know
Wow.
she was supposed to be pretty. My brother told me like 5 years later that she's hot, and I asked my best friend who's a guy,
No,
and
no,
she
no,
goes,
no.
and he goes,
That's
yeah, everyone
Hollywood.
likes Scarlett.
Okay, that's Hollywood. Remember what Jennifer Lawrence looked like before she got to
I
Hollywood.
was just thinking of her last night because I was looking at Hunger Games again, and she's yeah, it's Hollywood. Thank you.
They
Oh,
make you
Sandy
do
B
all
is
the
here. Sandy, I talked
surgeries.
about you this whole time, Sandy. I talked about the panel show you did. I talked about the panel show you did. Yes. So, anyways, Sandy, I've been talking about you the whole show, Sandy.
Would it be
So I
wrong of
agree
me?
with you. When she was a kid doing like Home Alone 3 and Ghost World and stuff like that, she was not all that attractive. But Hollywood, you get into Hollywood and you got to look a certain way. And yeah, they go, okay, well, you need to go to this surgeon, you need to go there, you need to go here, and do your thing and go down to the gym. And they make
I,
you
I
conform to a certain mold, you know.
maybe so. I don't know. I thought she was really cute. I don't know if that's wrong of me to
I
say that,
thought
but
Steve Buscemi was cute in Ghost
oh
World.
oh
And
yeah.
he was.
Well,
He really was.
and Thora Birch, I thought she was really
Mhm.
pretty as well.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you.
Unfortunately, she had terrible management, so she never really achieved the fame that she could have. I think because she was a good actress. I thought she played that role very well, and she was in American Beauty as well. That was her featured role there as well. So anyway, we've kind of strayed away from from Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp.
Uh, um,
What's at the
so
top
yeah,
of your
yeah,
list here?
100. Yeah. I was gonna say Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. I don't know why I didn't put that on my list, but yeah, I loved his interpretation. I mean, he was playing Hunter S. Thompson, but he was actually playing the character that Hunter created for that book.
Right.
That's actually based, and then you've got not D'Onofrio, who's the other who played his partner, the lawyer. Uh,
Um. Ah, the Wolfman.
exactly, Wolfman. Yeah,
Benicio
yeah.
del Toro.
Benicio del Toro. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which, by the way, uh, I don't know if you ever saw the movie Where the Buffalo Roam. Speaking of
Yes.
which,
Bill Murray.
with Bill
Oh
Murray
yes,
And
playing
I love
Hunter
that
S. Thompson
movie.
yes.
and Peter
And again,
Boyle
they
playing the
both hung
character.
out with the real Hunter S. Thompson to get the character.
Yeah,
I have a totally
And Murray
unique
did a great
taste.
job with that,
I have
as did Peter Boyle, who played Laszlo in that one.
yeah, yeah. One, and maybe this is a mandala. I'm not sure, but I have a distinct memory of seeing an interview that Hunter Thompson did with Keith Richards, and talk about like you had to have subtitles because you couldn't understand either of them. So Keith, what do you think about the Rolling Stones? What about that? Well, I'll tell you, yeah, me and Mick, we brought it. It was that kind of thing. And I'm like, wow,
Mumble says.
exactly. I'm like, are they speaking English? And but then I think, well, maybe actually that wasn't a real thing. Maybe I was watching somebody. Maybe that was actually a bit that somebody did.
Spoof or
I
comedy
just have
sketch.
that memory. But I thought, even if it wasn't real, that's hilarious. But I have seen interviews with Hunter, and that is how he sounds. Yep. Oh,
Yes,
Nixon. Yep.
that's right.
Nixon. And with the cigarette in the little holder.
And what's
Yeah.
funny is, Rum Diaries is so different from the other film, Fear and Loathing in Las
Yeah.
Vegas.
Oh,
But the
yeah.
humor's there, and the stories are there, and the characters there. The real Hunter S. Thompson when he was young and just getting started out.
Yeah.
So again, another really fun movie as far as getting into the head of Hunter S. Thompson, quite a character.
Yep.
Okay. And what's on the top of your honorable mention list?
For me, it's another kind of one of his early films. It's Benny and June,
Okay.
where he plays opposite. Oh shoot, I just had her in mind. Adrian Quinn is in it. Who's the girl?
Aiden Quinn?
Aiden Quinn, rather. He plays her father, and Johnny plays this guy who has modeled his life basically after Buster Keaton. And it's just it's an interesting movie, and again dealing with mental illness and oh, now it's gonna bug me. I'm gonna have to look it up. Who played the girl in the movie? I know.
I'm trying to think myself. It wasn't Cameron Diaz, was it?
No.
No. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know. So.
Oh, you hadn't? Oh, yeah. It's one of the older ones.
We did talk about Edward Scissorhands, Sandy. Yeah.
All right.
Disney messed up.
Mary Stuart Masterson.
Mary Stuart Masterson. Okay.
Yeah. Johnny Depp, Aiden Quinn.
Well, okay then.
So, but yeah, it's like I said, it's a look at she has all these quirky, weird things, and Johnny plays a guy named Sam, who, like I said, he dresses like Buster Keaton. He even gets to do a couple of his signature moves, like with the potatoes and the making him dance and kicking the hat and all that stuff. And it gave us one of the great hit songs of the era, "I Would Walk 500 Miles" by the Proclaimers. I don't know if you remember that song. I would walk 500 miles.
1,000 miles just
that song came from exactly. That came from this movie. Yeah. And in a similar vein, like you put the two together, I would put that in a double feature with Don Juan DeMarco, where Depp plays yet another character who is channeling another character. He thinks he's Don Juan. And it also, of course, features the legendary Marlon Brando in one of his later roles. And kind of teaching him how to be a man, how to be a lover, and another hit song comes from that movie, a Bryan Adams song, "Have You Ever Loved a Woman?"
Have you ever loved a woman? Yeah.
Yeah, and Bryan Adams, I got to say, Bryan Adams kind of took over from Kenny Loggins as the go-to guy for soundtrack music, apparently. Because he was knocking them out, like every other movie had a Bryan Adams song, the one from the Kevin Costner Robin Hood movie, and so many others,
Look into my eyes.
Yeah,
you will see.
Stick to your day job. No, that was good. That was good. So anyway, so those are a couple of my.
Renee's being mean to me.
Manny, don't be. What have we talked? We've talked about this. He's a very sensitive boy, that Rory. He's very sensitive. We don't want to.
I'm sorry. No.
We don't want to upset him. No, we don't want to do that.
No, he does good singing.
Yeah, you're amazing.
That was
what I'm going to do is I'm going to upset him now by saying that The Tourist is on my honorable mention list.
What? What? The Tourist? Is that the one with Angelina Jolie?
What I like about it is the fact that he plays a character who might be another character, and you never really get to know all the way up to the end of the movie. So,
dude playing a dude playing another dude.
He pulled it off just. And I think his performance in Once Upon a Time in Mexico deserves a nod.
Oh yeah.
I just say maybe you will disagree with me, but I thought that his performance in The Corpse Bride, which was an animated film, was wonderful.
Yeah.
And it has to go. It has to go. It has to be mentioned that he started out in A Nightmare on Elm Street, and
Yes.
he was good as his character in that, who gets pulled into his bed with his TV
Yeah.
and a big blood geyser in his room.
Exactly. Yeah. And talking about animation, I thought he was really good as the voice of the lizard in Rango.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
like the movie all that much, but I did like
Yeah.
his performance.
I thought he did a really good job with that. Yeah.
Yeah,
The movie,
Rango, and they did his body just the way it was kind of like a Jack Sparrow lizard, if in a way. It was very Jack Sparrow-esque. I love Rango. I thought it was pretty good. Yeah.
Well, so you mentioned Secret Window and Alice in Wonderland. Those are both on my honorable mentions list as well. But also Donnie Brasco. I know you don't particularly like that one, Rory. When we were talking
Scorsese
about
light.
Scorsese light, yeah, but it's still, I think it's still a good movie.
I thought his performance in that was very good.
Yeah,
I did.
yeah. Yeah, but you're right. Not one of the better.
It's just there's so many movies he's been in that are really good. As Renee says, A-lister movies.
Yeah,
and that one. Yeah, it's okay.
I also like his, again, not the best movie, but I also like his performance as John Dillinger in Public Enemies. I thought that was pretty good. But I love those kinds of gangster 1920s, Bonnie and Clyde sort of movies. I think that was directed by Michael Mann, if I'm not mistaken.
Michael Mann does Dillinger.
Yeah. So interesting movie. Yeah. So, all right. As far as dishonorable mentions, gotta mention Mordecai. And only because it's gotten so much bad press over the years.
I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it either. But it's like every review was just totally trashing this movie. So it's like I might have to watch
Mordecai.
From Mordecai, yeah. He plays I believe he's like a art dealer. Who may or may not be a little bit shady, and there's this mystery involving some stolen paintings, I believe. But it does look like he's kind of playing it almost like an homage to Peter Sellers as Clouseau from some of the trailers I've seen.
Okay.
He's got this little mustache, and he has this outrageous French accent. So.
Is that what he's getting hammered about?
I guess so. Yeah. And and you mentioned Willy Wonka or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. Yeah, not because especially if you start comparing it to the Gene Wilder version, there's no comparison. Wilder was really much more. It was not as faithful to the book, but I think the character was definitely much more like the Willy Wonka from the book. And yeah, Depp's choosing to channel Michael Jackson and whoever else, I feel like it was too distracting. It's just too fey a role. I mean, I like the look of it. I think Burton did what Burton does, gave it a really good look, and casting the little person, the Indian, who's been in so many other movies as all the Oompa Loompas.
Oh yeah, like mom something. Or
yeah, I thought that was
Mo Depp something. I can't remember.
Yeah, something like that.
Deep.
Yeah, sounds like a rapper name. But yeah, it just didn't catch the It just wasn't as enchanting as the one from the 70s, as the Gene Wilder version. And he had a shoehorn in Christopher Lee as the dentist's father. It's not a character that's in the book at all. So, haven't seen the Timothy Chalamet, Chevrolet or whatever Chevrolet. His version.
I have. It's more faithful to the first one.
Okay. It
yeah,
looks like they really try to make it more, try to link it more to that.
Yes.
To that version. I saw a picture of Hugh Grant as the Oompa Loompa, and he's orange, and he's got the green hair and all that. So
Deep Roy.
Mo Deep.
Something like that.
Deep Roy, yeah.
Deep Roy is the Oompa Loompa.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been in a lot of movies as well. He was in all the rebooted Star Trek movies.
Mm.
Yeah, he was Scotty's little friend in those movies.
All right.
Apropos of nothing.
John Duncan wanted us to do a recap because he came in a little bit late, and he was asking about
Number 1, Ed Wood. Number 2, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Curse of the Black Pearl. Number 3, Sleepy Hollow. Number 4, Alice in Wonderland. Number 5, Edward Scissorhands. Mention Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, The Rum Diaries, The Tourist, Once Upon a Time in Mexico, The Corpse Bride, and A Nightmare on Elm Street, his first mainstream film.
About the only one that's different on my list is What's Eating Gilbert Grape. I think everything else you mentioned, I mentioned as well. So anyway, Duncan,
I felt that was DiCaprio's movie.
John brought up Sweeney Todd, another Depp Burton production, more of a musical version. That was pretty good. Also, he was in another musical, Into the Woods, with Meryl Streep. We played the big bad wolf. So anyway, just throwing that out there.
Did we mention Benny and June?
We mentioned Benny and June, Don Juan DeMarco.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So yeah, we covered.
That's one of my favorites.
Don Juan DeMarco?
Benny and June.
Benny and June, I think she meant.
Oh. Mafia movie.
Donnie Brasco?
Donnie Brasco. They are besties.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. You could tell that they're very good friends when they do interviews together.
Yeah.
That's why he keeps calling them back again and again and again.
I kind of wish, and I don't know if it would have made the movie better, but I kind of wish that he had cast Depp in Planet of the Apes instead of Marky Mark. Like I said, I don't know if that would have made the movie better, or if he had.
Well, Marky Mark gets up in the morning and he goes and he does his prayers and he does his weightlifting and he gets ready for at 5 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, he never did another Burton movie after that.
Yeah.
Tim Roth, on the other hand.
Tim Roth, yeah. When he's not busy working for Quentin Tarantino.
Yes. Honey Buddy.
Yeah. All right. Any more questions from the audience that we can?
What's next week?
Next week we have a special guest. We're going to be joined by Mr. Alan Coffey, and we're going to talk about something that I think you're going to like, Rory. We're going to talk about our favorite Batman
movies.
Batman movies, yes.
Awesome.
There's been about 100 of those. Yeah, so
and then some.
That's going to be fun. And I was thinking that for honorable mentions, we'll talk about our favorite Alfreds. Because I got some ideas. So yeah, so that'll be next week. We'll have a special guest, and we're going to be talking about
Master White.
Batman.
You need to stop going out in a ruddy, bloody bat costume. It's embarrassing. If you get killed, who's got to answer for it? I do. Stop wearing black rubber bat costumes.
Oh, good to see you too, Sandy. So, all right. So that's it. That's it. That's our show for today, and that'll be our show next week. Miss Renee, do you have anything else
Happy
that you want to bring
Memorial
up?
Day, everybody.
Yes, happy Memorial Day. That's
I was gonna bring that up at the beginning, and I totally forgot. Yes, today is Memorial Day. Today is the day we honor those that gave their lives in defense and service of this country. So, so thank you.
Yes.
All right. Anything else, Renee? Anything to you want to promote some of the other shows that we're doing?
I do. Directly after this on our sister network, Kimono My House, it is BLT show, and I'm going to be leading it off. That's late breaking. That just happened right now. I'm going to be a sub right after this. And Tom Cheshire and John Phipps, they do this music show every single Monday, and it's fantastic. So everyone should tune in. I don't know the exact lineup yet, but it's going to be awesome, and it's going to go. And then tonight, on TikTok, you can follow Carrie Harrison and Rory Penland. We'll be chatting it up and hamming it up and talking about all the crazy stuff and great stuff and profound stuff that they always do. So make sure that you tune in there. And of course, every Thursday, 10 p.m. Eastern, we have No Icing. And just keep tuning in, guys. There's tons of
And the
stuff.
Big Monster Briefing Room tomorrow night and
Big
Thursday.
Monster Briefing Room tomorrow. There you go. Sorry.
Ruby Ray Moore will be with us tomorrow at 7 o'clock to talk about Child's Play 1 and 2. So it's a double feature. And Thursday, we have a new special guest, J.D. Moore, who's an alien expert. We're going to talk about Men in Black.
He's been abducted multiple times, so he is an expert. Yes, Sandy, right after this, I am, yeah. And Sandy wanted to know if you recovered from No Icing last night.
Of course, obviously.
You said yes, obviously?
Obviously. Although I did have to pass a kidney stone in between that
Oh
year.
my gosh. David Hayes is going to be on No Icing. I love David Hayes. That's fantastic. Yes, you do not want to miss that. David Hayes on No Icing. So great. Carrie and Rory will not be on YouTube too, I don't think, right? You guys are going to be on TikTok tonight, right?
It'd be nice if we could be on YouTube, but yeah, okay.
That's what it says. You guys said TikTok. I don't know. It's in the chat.
He said TikTok.
He said TikTok. So I don't know. They're still working it out, JD. But if they're going to be on YouTube, you'll see it pop up, and it will be at 10 Eastern time, wherever that is in Tasmania, 10 Eastern time. Get a TikTok, John Duncan. Get a TikTok. Join the tribe.
2 hours and 40 minutes?
Yep. Yeah.
2 hours and 40
2 hours
minutes.
and 40 minutes. Exactly. Yeah. That's a great way to say it. Yeah, absolutely. And
John will be in the future.
And lots of Dennis Tardon stuff coming up as well. We have multiple. I think I don't know if it's tomorrow. I have to look at the schedule again, but he's going to be doing tons of stuff as well that will be live and taped, so you guys can see. So you guys will be seeing a lot of that as well.
Yeah,
I know he's got at least one big interview coming up.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's got some really good, reasonably spontaneous conversations.
Yes, Michael Learned from the Waltons just got posted. Yes, and that was a fantastic conversation. I got to direct it. It was amazing. She is amazing. He was amazing, and they just went really deep. And then Dee Wallace from E.T. Went, and then her daughter, Gabrielle Stone, I want to say, who's a best-selling author and is actually more famous than her mom, Dee Wallace, now. She's going to be on pretty soon, too. Very cool stuff.
So lots of great stuff coming up here on Cosmos Creative TV. So please tune in.
Just keep tuning in. I forget them all. There's so
Tuning
much
in.
stuff going on. I forget,
Tuning
but
in.
every single day there's stuff going on.
But of course, the best show is two guys and a gal talking about movies.
That is the best show.
I couldn't even say that with a straight face.
It literally is the best show, and it's not subjective; it's objective. It is literally the best show, and I stand by that. I stand by that.
Oh, quit it.
Don't tell the general or the master sergeant. Don't tell them that. Don't tell that. Yeah, R&D Cafe, absolutely.
And the R&D Cafe, yeah.
Yeah, one of the iterations this week, Sandy, and I can't believe I'm forgetting which day it's going to be, but one of the iterations is it's going to be an attempt to be the most boring show in the USA. And Dennis and I are going to do boring improv for a half an hour live on Cosmos this week. I forget which date it is, but we will be attempting to be the most boring. So we will not be entertaining. If we start to be entertaining, we're going to pull it back and we're going to reset to complete boring.
I think I might be on that as well. So
absolutely. So
that'll be easy for me because I'm
the problem is going to be you, Manny. I'm looking to you because you get interesting at the drop of a hat, and you're not supposed to.
No.
I will take you off stage, Manny, if I see you be charismatic just one more time. I've been warning you. No more charisma.
All right. I'll try to turn off the mojo.
Turn off the mojo. All right,
It's hard, but yeah. Anyway, all right.
Okay, so good night, everybody.
So, good night. And thanks for watching this episode of Two Guys and Sometimes a Gal Talking About Movies. Be sure to like, subscribe, and click that notification bell to get future episodes.